Beauty to me is a reflection of your inner peace, of your self-worth in a way. You see yourself and you sometimes kind of doubt, well, you see the eye bags. Did I rest? Am I doing enough? I think beauty is a self-reflection of how we function, how we move, how we believe in ourselves.
Welcome to the Beauty Talk podcast, where we feature how the best medical practitioners help their patients to look better, younger, and healthier. Now, enjoy the show, and here's your host.
Daniel Gao here. I'm the host of Beauty Talk. We feature the top medical practitioners in health and beauty, both inside and out. I have Gabriela Valle, a registered nurse and the founder of Evolve from Within Med Spa, a results-driven aesthetic and wellness clinic in the San Francisco Bay Area. With a strong medical background in many different areas of nursing, like ICU, GI, and surgery, and years of hands-on experience in aesthetics, specializing in combining advanced injectables, regenerative treatments, and IV therapy with whole body wellness. Known for her natural, conservative approach to aesthetics for longevity, helping clients look refreshed, confident, and aligned rather than overdone. Her philosophy centers on treating the root cause, not just the surface, to create long-lasting, transformative results. So Gabriela, welcome and glad to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, let's start at the very top. How did you first get interested in the medical field?
The medical field, I would attribute it to my mom. She has always worked in as a medical assistant at different capacities, whether it was at a skilled nursing facility or private care. And so just interacting with the geriatric population was just something that I really enjoyed. I would wait for my mom after school, wait for her she would finish her shift and we would go home. And so it was kind of that kind of love for, people and just connection that has started my nursing journey. That was, I would say it was because of her, most of it. As a female also, I think that caregiving gene is in us somewhere. And so it kind of definitely came arise.
Got it. Okay. And so how did you end up going and transitioning into the aesthetic side of medicine?
Well, that happened when I started needing my treatments. I wanted to do, my Botox, my, little filler here and there. And I realized, I need to, figure out how I can maintain this because it's a little pricey, So I started taking a few classes and really started diving into the different areas of aesthetics and just kind of thought it would be fun to work in it. And I applied for different positions, and I got really lucky that I actually got hired by a plastic surgeon here locally, and I worked under him for a while, learned a whole lot of stuff, got a few treatments for, within the practice. And so the love just kept growing. And, now here we are 2.5 years into my own practice.
Okay. So now with your practice, what led you to want to start your own practice? Why not just continue working for that plastic surgeon?
We all have in aesthetics, there's a lot that we all kind of prefer or don't prefer. There's a lot of different things that, as he's an older gentleman that, was very set in the ways that he treated his patients throughout. And so there was a lot of limitations of what I could and couldn't do. The things that I wanted to learn, just that we, you not necessarily that we didn't align, but, I wanted to explore more, and he was pretty set in stone. And so I explored a couple of different practices and just learned that, that was going to be the case everywhere. And if I wanted to grow in the path that I wanted to grow in, I needed to figure out how to do that. And I was given the opportunity to be able to do that in this setting, having my medical director. He has his own practice. He practices out of Los Gatos right now. And so he gives me the ability and flexibility to drive, basically.
Got it. Okay. So now that you have your practice, I want to talk about some of the treatments that you provide. And I'll start with biostimulants. So for people who have no idea, can you explain what is a biostimulant or biostimulators?
Biostimulants are a different kind of dermal fillers. We still categorize them as a dermal filler, but they have different components. They're not hyaluronic acid. So we have one that has a calcium molecule that brings in oxygenation to the cells. It therefore stimulates collagen, and it actually thickens up the dermis. It grows the collagen within. We have another one that actually is made out of suture material. We grind it up, we put it into a formulation. When we insert it, it's almost like planting fertilizer in the skin. So you're really growing the skin from within. You're not just plumping it up with a hyaluronic acid, which at the end of the day is only going to bring hydration, plumpness, which can sometimes look a little overly done over the years.
Okay. So comparing the biostimulants to the hyaluronic acid just goes in, plumps it up, but it's really not doing anything from a, I guess from like a natural standpoint. Like, can you dive a little bit deep into that part?
Yeah, so it's not, hyaluronic acid doesn't grow collagen. It doesn't stimulate anything. It literally is made out of a very hydrophilic molecule that attracts water. So when it attracts water, you basically get that plumping effect. You get it on the lips, you get it on the cheeks. In time, that plumpness actually makes the skin stretch, and we're learning a lot about hyaluronic acid, and that it doesn't actually go away. It actually just expands. One syringe of filler in 5-6 years over time could look like 2 or 3 in a scan. So in theory, we're actually damaging the skin over time because we're stretching it and stretching it. With the biostimulants, you're putting fertilizer. I love to use that fertilizer to the skin. You're planting all the fertilizer throughout the areas that we know are going to get depleted, whether it's your temples, your cheeks, your lips. No, we don't use biostimulants on the lip. Whether it's your temples, your cheeks, jawline, your neck, anywhere where you want that skin to come back to more of a natural hydrated state, more of a youthful state, those biostimulants are going to be doing that for you. And not necessarily, when you're planting that fertilizer, you're going to get that great growth over time and not just the expansion of the skin.
Okay. And just by the name of it, biostimulators, I'm guessing it's a little bit more of a natural approach and like natural growth. Is that?
Oh, definitely, definitely. And then the result is natural, more natural appearance to your face or wherever it is that you choose to use it. We're using the biostimulators and in different areas that you want that youthfulness in the skin to maintain. You want that your hands, your elbows, your knees, different areas on your skin, your neck, your décolleté. You can't really put hyaluronic acid in your décolleté and have it look good over time. It'll just look glossy under your under eyes. That's an area that hyaluronic acid just tends to not look great over time. But we have now growth factors, different exosomes, different things that actually look a lot more natural. They grow that skin, they hydrate that skin, they're nourishing it from within.
Okay. Now I want to dive a little bit deeper into that growth factors you mentioned. So exosomes, growth factors, I think this is more the regenerative medicine side of it.
Yes.
I think a lot of people don't really understand. Maybe they've heard regenerative medicine, but I think if you ask most people what's an exosome, they're like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yes,
Can you
yes,
talk a
yes.
little bit more about what is regenerative medicine, and then kind of what specifically are these individual pieces of it, like exosomes and things like what do they do and how could you use them?
So we have different products in the market right now. There's a lot of different, they could be things that we produce in the lab from yeast that have no DNA material, and we have some stuff that actually has some DNA material. There's different things that basically do the same thing as the other biostimulants. They're stimulating that growth. They're hydrating the skin. They're stimulating that collagen. They're bringing oxygenation mostly to the area that we're injecting it, and just bringing more oxygenation to that area stimulates the growth of the skin and maintains the youthfulness and appearance of it. So we're actually in a very exciting time because we have so many different things that we're exploring. Some medicine or this area, you have to be careful not to dive in too quick into the new things. You have to wait for the research. You have to wait and see, is this going to be something good long term? Is this going to be something that's just the hype? I take a lot of classes to make sure that we're bringing in stuff that's, in the long term, going to be something that we want to have in our skin and our bodies.
Okay. So with these growth factors, I guess what's the main difference between these growth factors, regenerative medicine, and what people have typically been doing when it comes to aesthetics in the past, like using the hyaluronic acid, using Botox, maybe doing like laser treatments, things like that. Like what's kind of the main differences between like kind of the old school and the new school, I'll call it?
I would say the old school and new school's merging. I mean, Botox is not going to go away. Botox is a completely different horse, and it preserves the skin. Where the biostimulants and the growth factors, there's new ones coming up, and like every other day, it seems like new company comes up with a different formulation. But our own growth factors from our own body are really good to be reinfused back into our skin. That's like our PRP, our PRF. And so we learned that that works really good and it looks really natural. And so we're really trying to duplicate them in the lab. And that's where a lot of that, the growth factor biostimulants, growth factors, or the, different DNA derived products are coming from.
Okay. So would you say that kind of the biggest benefits of the growth factors from regenerative medicine is that it's more natural looking and it's kind of using your own body to regenerate? That's the
Definitely. Yeah, people don't want that overly done look. Even if they're just coming in for that Botox treatment, they don't want to look overly done. They want to have expression. That goes to without saying with the other stuff. If you're putting in filler in your face, that's definitely going to change the anatomy of your face, your how your face moves, the more and more that you add. And over time, as we keep aging, you're going to keep adding more. So you want to look for something that when you add it, it actually promotes that skin wellness, that skin plumpness, that collagen stimulation. And that's where a lot of these products are coming in.
Okay, got it. Now, moving on, I want to touch on microneedling. So for the people who have never done microneedling, what is microneedling? What does it do?
Microneedling was actually one of the first treatments I tried in aesthetics before I even knew I wanted to do it for, as a career, as a path. Microneedling is basically you have a little device, or whatever. There's multiple devices. There's microneedling with radio frequency as well. So, but essentially, you're driving little needles into the skin and either delivering energy or just creating those little channels where you can then infuse some of these growth factors, your own blood, your own PRP, your own different products that we have that basically feed the skin deeper, because we created those little channels throughout the skin. That results in a lot more collagen stimulation than just putting it or applying it on the surface on the skin. So microneedling is one of probably the most natural, less invasive ways to really promote skin and collagen stimulation within the skin.
Okay. So when you say collagen stimulation, is it kind of reducing wrinkles? Is it tightening the face? Is it doing anything about pigmentation? Like, is it
everything? I mean, it's one of the best treatments that you can handle. It takes care of a lot of different things because you are making little channels in the skin. Those little channels, your body recognizes it as an injury. So when your body recognizes it as an injury, it creates a whole inflammatory response and then brings in more oxygenation to that area to heal it. That stimulates the collagen formation, that stimulates the better formation of the skin. So in theory, you're making little injuries, micro injuries throughout the skin that you could then put that growth factor in, or that salmon DNA in, or whatever product you choose to put in, your own platelets, your own growth factors in. And it can take care of skin pigmentation. It can tighten up those fine lines are very much gone after one treatment, depending where you are in your skin journey. But it could definitely help with the fine lines, with pigmentation. Microneedling is probably one of the best things for melasma, which is very hard to treat. Probably one of the harder things to treat in skin in this realm. But it does create so much benefit to scars, acne scars, surgical scars. It's a great treatment to do just if you're kind of dabbling in and you don't want anything like filler or anything of that, that you don't really know about. This is just you're cutting your skin in micro little areas, or what would I call them, micro injuries that actually help you produce collagen within your skin.
Okay. Now you're mentioning that it's basically you're getting these needles and kind of poking holes in the skin. So when people kind of visualize that, I'm sure that a lot of people have the fear of needles. So is it painful? I'm sure you get that question. Is it painful?
We always have a way to help you with the pain. There's either numbing cream. We could do, for microneedling treatment, you wouldn't do a facial block, but you definitely could do some skin topical numbing cream. Most of these things, in aesthetics, it's kind of hard not to have a little pain involved. It is, a lot of the products are driven in by needle, or in order to stimulate it, we're either heating the skin up or creating those micro injuries within it to stimulate the collagen. So in this area of medicine, it's that saying beauty is pain doesn't come from just anywhere.
Got it. Okay. Now, Gabrielle, I'm curious, what are some of the most common misconceptions or myths that you hear about the treatments that you provide?
Um, I would say the biggest thing is just the stigma that you're going to look completely different if you start doing anything, injecting products into your face. And I would say, people have this, few artists that have gone way overboard and they think if I start doing Botox, that's what I'm going to end up looking like. And I think that's the biggest thing. In different populations, different, like Latins, we are very much into the vanity is not an okay thing. And so people are almost like ashamed to show or say that they're getting treated with Botox or filler or whatever it is that they're getting. And so I think that that's a big misconception. You don't have to look completely different. You don't have to change your face structure, your facial features. You can just help it age or progress that aging progression, slow it down, or basically change how you're going to age. If somebody that does Botox when they start, whatever their age preference might be, whether it's in their late 20s, their 30s, or whenever, you're really preserving the damage that the skin does with the constant movement, whether it's around your eyes, whether it's in your forehead. You preserve it a lot. So then you don't need those extra, lasers or this or that, because you're actually slowing down that progression of the skin deterioration.
Okay. Now, let's say, Gabriela, that someone is looking to get some type of aesthetic procedure or aesthetic treatment done, but they don't know any providers, they don't know which provider to choose. What advice would you give to this person as they do their search so they can find someone that has the knowledge, has the ability, and can get them the end results that they're looking for?
I would say this is a very important thing. I think there's a lot of providers out there that say that they're medical providers. There might be estheticians, there might be somebody that's taken a class or two on something. And so I think the biggest thing is check for licensing. Licensing is so important. We have med spots popping up everywhere right now. You got to make sure that people have actually gotten experience, years of experience. I say that the safest thing to do is, word of mouth. Somebody that has gotten work by this specific person, or actually, look at your reviews, make sure you come in and meet that person. You don't have to come in and get treated just because you paid a deposit. A deposit of $50 or $100 is not worth exposing yourself to something that's either not FDA approved or being done by somebody that's not a medical professional. In aesthetics, it has to be a nurse, nurse practitioner, a physician assistant, or a physician that does treatments. We have a lot of people that are doing things that they're not supposed to, getting products from places that are not FDA approved, laser machines, this microneedling devices, things from we have such accessibility right now to a lot of things from different areas of the world, and it's definitely being abused right now, and people are in danger. People are in danger of getting botched, getting allergic reactions, getting products installed and put into their bodies that are not safe for them, that end up causing a lot of damage. So I would say do your research about your provider that you're looking at. Make sure that they are licensed providers. Both the Board of Registered Nursing is a site that you can easily plug in a name, plug in an address, and then know as this person somebody that's licensed, actively licensed, and we are in a place where a lot of people are doing, like I said, just not being truthful and ethical about the treatments they're providing. Only nurses are allowed to puncture the skin at certain depths to provide this microneedling procedure, for instance. If you go to an esthetician, that is not somebody that's gone through an anatomy class like I have, a physiology class like I have. And so you can cause damage to the skin, permanent damage to the skin. So check those licenses, make sure that nurse is actually being supervised by a medical director. That's a big red flag. If you're getting treatment, outside of a medical spa or outside the practice, that is possible. I am licensed to travel to do services. I could do it in your home. I could come do it, like the Botox parties, but I refrain from doing those because I think that instills a little bit of you can do this at home and it's safe. And it's not always that case. Not all of us are out there carrying a registered nurse license on our pocket, you know.
Got it. Okay. Now, Gabriela, throughout your experience, is there maybe has been a memorable case or a challenging case that you worked on that you can share, and basically challenging, memorable case, and how you were able to get them a successful outcome in the end?
I mean, I think that every person that sits in this chair has a story, whether it's a story of, from a surgical scar, from long relationship that failed and they felt, not loved, whether it's just that lip that wasn't big enough and was always conscious of. So I think we all have such great stories behind us, and aesthetics gives us the ability to be able to change those little things that we feel, whether it's external or internal, because you see that person reflecting in the mirror feeling better. So I think that that's the stories that I see here all the time. I had I remember one probably one of the first big kind of facial balancing patients that I did. I remember just thinking, she had a budget. She wanted to do have a little bit more show, like, because she kind of, in her words, let herself go. And so it was challenging to be able to get the result that she wanted with the budget that she was in. And so I kept thinking about, how can we do this? How can we optimize this for her, so she could see a change and feel good about herself? And we were able to pull it together, strategize on placement of a filler. At the time, I was working with a lot more filler than I was with the biostimulants, but still, we were able to go and give her that result that she was looking for, that perkiness on the skin, the little areas that really bothered her change for her. And just seeing the smile, the happiness in her face at the end is just, it gets you every time.
Okay. Now, where do you think the future of aesthetics is going?
I really think it's regenerative medicine. I think that, having that Botox, like I said, is never going to go away. But I think just keeping ourselves healthier is where it's going. The growth factors, we're seeing the peptides, we're, exploring all these different things that we want to stay healthy. Our bodies, we know that dying is a disease. It's not, it's something that we can help, prolong. You don't have to you take care of yourself, you give yourself vitamins, you hydrate. Well, we also have the skin, that's one of the largest organs in your bodies that we haven't really paid attention to. So now we are, and that makes a difference.
Okay. And with that in mind, what is your vision for your practice?
My vision is to definitely move into that area of regenerative medicine, exploring more of the peptides that we are able to use, that are available to us and that are approved to be able to use to optimize our health. We're doing a lot of research with different things. We're combining therapies. I think in general, staying healthy is where what I really preach in here, rather than, you want to be beautiful on the outside, but I think it begins with how healthy you feel. Your skin reflects a lot of your health. And so starting from the inside is really where it comes and shines on the outside as well.
Got it. Okay. Well, Gabriela, that's wonderful. I have one last question for you, but before I ask it, I do want to point people to your website at efwmedspa.com.
Yes, that's it.
Last question for you. What does beauty mean to you?
Beauty to me is a reflection of your inner peace, of your self-worth in a way. You see yourself, and you sometimes kind of doubt, you see the eye bags. Did I rest? Am I doing enough? I think beauty is a self-reflection of how we function, how we move, how we believe in ourselves. It doesn't have to be that, oh my God, you have the beautiful cheeks. No, you have that reflection of yourself shining or glowing, and because you're feeling good about yourself from the inside, I think.
Wonderful answer. Well, there you have it. Gabriela sharing your expertise. So where can people contact you in your practice?
So I easily, but through the website. We're also on Instagram, EFW MedSpa, on Instagram. I'm here, I'm in the middle of the Bay Area, Concord, California. So we're very easily accessible. This year just is looking up in so many different ways. We're growing, hopefully adding another laser into the practice, hopefully soon. And so I'm just excited to be able to reach out more people to be able to help you get to that goal, or help you maintain that goal, whether it's weight loss, whether it's your vitamins, whether it's your hydration of your skin. All of those things are in here, one-stop shop.
Awesome. Well, Gabriela, this is awesome. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, and thank you for sharing your wisdom.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Beauty Talk podcast. Any questions, please contact the practice directly with the contact information provided during the show. We'll see you again next time. Bye for now.